вами Арфис. Продолжаем проходить Fallout 3 Vegas. Так, у нас миссия убить большое такое механическое создание. Ад-скорпион. Ну не ад-скорпион, а робот-скорпион. У нас тут такая проблемка есть. У меня нет ничего огнестрела никакого. А только это какая-то хрень большая. Да. Это идет второй сезон, 6-я серия. Приятного просмотра. О боже, я сейчас пойду к нему, буду лепить эфир. Как это фигня? О боже, что это? О, да, все.
This one looks pretty tough.
Я хоть что-нибудь нарисую. У меня сейчас одно пришло. Ай-яй-яй. Я жив.
Cessation of hostilities complete. No more medicine. So sad.
Лекарство больше не грусть и тоска.
Uh-oh. Fighting over. Ready, steady. Cessation of hostilities complete.
Капец, мне, конечно, здесь все. О, нифига себе, насколько я зажил радиацию. О, я ж еще яд могу наносить не могу, что.
Time to fight.
Ай-яй-яй.
Get out of Stimpaks. Maybe you'd be better off with an autodoc suit.
Ладно, сейчас мне не удалось. Это начало. Ну вот. Мы снова здесь. Но мы ему нормально несем. Попробуем посмотреть по нему. Плохая идея. Да, в принципе, мы вообще...
This one looks pretty tough. Bad guys dealt with.
Ну, вообще просто...
Sleeping done. Fighting now. I hope it doesn't hurt too bad. You don't have any habits.
Go away! There's no access to the door. It is forbidden. And what? Attack in the name of Mobius.
I can't give you anything for that injury.
X-42.
We're out of Stimpaks. Maybe you'd be better off with an autodoc
Сейчас есть
suit.
шанс его убить. Ну нафиг это, внимательно. Ножом. Надо попробовать. гигантского робота. Как я его хочу. Но я его лучше уничтожу. Потому что не знаю,
I can't give you anything for that injury. Stimpaks. Maybe you'd be better off with an otter duck suit.
Я думал, я его никогда не сломаю.
That's all.
Фу, это было что-то с чем-то, хотя это не очень долго продолжалось. Но все же, согласитесь. Это было жестоко. Я думал, это займет серии 2. А это вот как просто оказывается. Опять эти пики. Нет. Я чуть не разбился, видите? Даже не хочу смотреть, где он стоял и как меня смотрел. Просто хочу отсюда выйти, потому что я очень жестко храм. Знаете, эти дубинки хоть и выглядит тупо, но она... Да, он там сидит. Да, это... Ладно, придется с ним болтать.
Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. A little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely. Oh, well, that's good. Were we supposed to fight? I certainly don't feel violent, but, well, these contraptions make it hard to tell. Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? Please. After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I. Oh, a variety of reasons. You're something of a homily. The anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. If you were to go back with what your brain knows, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition. I'm not sure, except that I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. Even if I forget them occasionally. Although I feel this one... Oh, curiosity. I experienced that... The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other perceptual impossibilities. Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, it just... Oh, yes. Yes, that feels wonderful. This is even better than my afternoon. Well,
Он такой странный, я не знаю. О, кстати, да, он вроде не агрессивный, но зачем он передает угрозу?
Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when... So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take mentats, I can feel my entire chassis. As for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still... Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. Some reason for it. Ethics or... You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the raisins better than I do. This name's as real as you or I. Although I believe you're... Someone's been watching too many old world science. I must... Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement. Not an inappropriate word, but... The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. They would have... Oh, you figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time and history. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now the... It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometime... And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. Really? It is so unlike me to make... Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are the think tank for a race. Well, then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was larger than they perceived. There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perception. Yes, very good. I should have mentats ingest you instead of the other way around. Mentats. In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because you had bullets in the head are usually much more fatal, and yours was a light case of bullet headitis. But...
я, короче, смог разговаривать, потому что мне этот Бенни всадил пулю в лоб. Подло. То есть, колхоз, я не смог найти никак.
Oh no! I doubt your brain would be so unreasonable. It already knows the trick of it, you see. If you become friends or exist in an uneasy truce with weapons aimed at each other, well, once the think tank was dealt with, of course. Your brain is a responsible sort. Doesn't want mad scientists running around everywhere.
Изумрученный, это точно.
I consider coincidence.
Мне кажется, что этот чувак меня обманывает. Причем это делает так, что это вообще не заметно.
Yes. The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha wave frequency thought patterns. The sneaky suit? Why, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicine. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think they had them all the time in the story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't. Oh, that means my plan is a total failure. That is. Oh well, at least I. Now, that seems to be rather hormonal of you. Your brain is here, safe with me. We chat over mentats. Do you? And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should ask it. It's quite independent.
Что мой мозг имеет независимое.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been? Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again?
О боже. Я говорю со своим мозгом. What?
Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
Почему ты такая
Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment? I most certainly am not. I am the seat of all reason and logic. All those feelings that motivate you, that sense of righteousness and that rush you get when you help someone. Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive. Well, look, it's all a very complex system of biofeed. Oh, all right. Perhaps I am, but at least... I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you. Overrated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you've got all that meat. I don't believe it. It's just a simple... Well, certainly there might be some things I miss about being ambulatory. We have seen some incredible sights, haven't we? But still, given the tremendous, potentially life-ending peril that went along with those... Yes, Oh no! Please, don't leave me here in this nice, safe dome where I have access to nutrient. Please don't deprive me of being dragged through a landscape so bleak it was actually improved by the end. I don't know how I... It's true, the brains here have experienced some degree of deterioration. I'm confident that with a few decades of work, I can solve... Of course I accounted for that! Do you think I'm so... maintain... I'm not entirely sure. I suppose there's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us. What form that might take, though, I cannot say. After the think tank extracted me from your skull, they felt... I don't know. I'm afraid the trauma of our separation rendered me quite insensate. I didn't come around until I... Ugh, crawl back in there? Are you mad? I don't know where you've been. For all I know, you're riddled with disease or packing one of those delightful head wounds you seem to attract. I'm not crawling back into your head just to ooze right back out again. Are you coming on to me? Sweet Lord, I don't even have the words for how repugnantly wrong that is. Please tell me we weren't that perverse when I was in your head. Anyways, even if that was on the table, we have a problem. Even if I wanted to settle myself back in your skull and go to all the trouble of reconnecting nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share. And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived. We have to do no such thing. Just don't... I had overlooked that particular angle. Still, it's not so bad staying here, is it? We could become... I'd like to find a nice little place to live, maybe in Good Springs, and settle down where we won't get shot at. Not as often, at any rate. But since that doesn't seem likely, what's your plan? Very well. I suppose I have no choice. Goodbye, peaceful, soothing brain jar. Hello, head wounds and scorpions. I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the synced autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Clyde will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and...
Это капец. Это вообще капец. Я взял свой мозг.
Oh, I hypo... If I recall, I had a plan that was working.
Офигеть, я помогал 6 серий этому мозговому центру, а теперь он должен его сломать.
That will be difficult. It would be like fighting 5 scaled-down versions of me that have better depth perception.
Блин, нифига вы.
Oh.
Ладно, в общем, разберусь с ним сам. Как-нибудь. Чувак, у тебя нет ничего похилиться. То есть, кстати говоря, вы бы не могли мне оставить комментарий под видео, как можно сделать интро. Это я совсем, не знаю. Не, ну я как-то пытался. Что-то у меня не получилось.
You require some additional.
Так, короче, у нас тут раз и навсегда вопрос. Надо сохраниться. Вот опять такая же позиция. Ну что ж, начнем.
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap? I recommend watching your tone with me, lobotomite. Now, your brain. Hand it over, or we'll extract it again. And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground for our experiments. Mobius does not form alliances. He was a terrible lab partner, and he would make a worse... You are lying. No, you are not. Your heartbeat, perspiration... Why would you reason with that maniac? He'll destroy us all! Nonsense. Confer, colleagues. Those are 2 words.
Dr. Klein, I must intersect. Please, do not harm the lobotomite.
I'm not going to harm it. I'm going to dissect it until it's dead. Why the sudden...
I cannot stand a sweet breathing organism breathing in and out to suddenly not breathe. We must keep it alive for study.
Gala, these vocalized pauses are...
Fine. Are you sure we've calculated all the combat probabilities here? I mean, the lobotomite confronted Mobius. Plus, you know, we haven't had a COMBAT drill in forever. I don't think we could form a tactical attack triangle of...
Releasing the WOMBAT was not my plan, so get off...
Silencing opinionators.
Why are you acting like this? You've never refused to commit necessary surgery before. What is wrong with you? You sound brain scrubbed, blindly agreeing.
If I may, I feel as if I must be the voice of reason. This lobotomite is much like us. Regarding even animals and pets as nothing more than avenues to promote science. There is good here. Instead of ending its life on the table, we should prolong its suffering in the name of science. Like good old Gabe, the finest of lab specimens.
Why am I even listening to you fools? Enough of this mutinous chorus. If there's a word, and the word jism, which never made any sense to me. It's ridiculous putting j and zm together like that. Not. I count as 5. Like the mighty human hand I once had, with its 5 penises clenched in a fist. A fight? I've never been in a fight. What do I... Colleagues, think I...
This one looks pretty tough.
Does this weapon have...
Drag up on it. Anyone? The lobotomite! It has come for us!
I can't give you anything for that injury.
I will unleash the incredible power of our... I will unleash the...
You're my best friend forever.
Жалко, что их пришлось убить. Чё, им 200 лет уже.
Cessation of hostilities complete.
Слишком долго не жили.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
Although, truth be told, the courier had barely explored the crater in an attempt to rush through and be done with the whole thing. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome gained a frontier town feel with the few modules installed. They shouted at each other across the HQ occasionally, either threatening each other or announcing a discovery. It kept things lively. Secretly, the Sync Central Intelligence Unit was relieved that not all of the personality chips had been found. What was there was enough.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
Blind-eye old Jefferson eventually discovered a new sound. Silence. It only made him more filled with the blues than before.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier made his way through the X-8 facility, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. They eventually created new cyberdogs to root out commie traitors from the wasteland. Traitors like Betsy Bright, Richie Marcus. Although they couldn't seem to find any commies, so they turned on themselves, howling sonic barks that echoed miles across the landscape.
The infiltration program in X-13 continued to scan for the subject and the stealth suit prototype long after the test was over. Frustrated and unable to find its lost technology, X-13 expanded its network of laser tripwires, sensors, and robo-brains out across Big Mountain. This glittering blue light beam forest cleanly bisected anything that entered its depths, slicing them into small segmented parts for easy disposal.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
The think tank basement, filled with the lobotomized robotical frames of the doctors, now served as a graveyard. The monitors had recorded the battle in its entirety, including the think tank's final, shrill, terrified screams, whimpers, and pleas for mercy. They broadcast these humiliating last moments as a warning to anyone approaching the perimeter that other smarty pants were not welcome. The courier was the inheritor of the Big Empty, and there was room for only one will in the halls of the think tank dome.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, or what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues.
Не понял. Fallout что-то у меня включился.
We could say more, but the stories in the big empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the big empty one by one. The sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
Ну что ж, на этом кончается наш второй сезон.
Huzzah, sir! Huzzah! Huzzah, sir!
Посмотреть. Понимаете, больше. О, мы 16 уровня уже. Приз. Что за приз? Нифига нет. Обращение с мозгом. Что у нас тут еще новенькое есть? Каменная стена. Стойкость. Беззаветная преданность. Ну что, возьмем беззаветную преданность. Спускаться за мной. Все хорошо.
So you beat the big brain.
Жалко, что их пришлось убить. Особенно доктора Дана. Я и не хотел убить. Ну, что было, то было. Ой-ё. Ладно. Пожалуй, на этом закончим второй сезон. Подписывайтесь на мой канал, ставьте лайки. Всем удачи!